existence, and to love your neighbors as though you want to be loved. Why do we have a problem with that? With those two commandments, we have a problem with everything Jesus stands for. Now, with those two commandments, we we put Jesus into a physical form. Because if we don't submit to those two, we'll bring a division between us and love. We don't want love at that point. We want fear. So what fear does, it brings forth divisions. And with divisions, you're going to bring forth like competition. And if you're going to compete, you're going to compare. So you got like an inevitable war, which is what we constantly keep seeing. That's why time hasn't really permitted itself to go forward, because we haven't separated from fear. We haven't embraced love. We could say it's 2020, but it's no different than it is from the 1520s. It's no different. It's no different than how the Bible talks about Adam and Eve, which is the Bible is saying this is the beginning. It's no different. Now, a person may have a Bible that in their possession over 5 years. Okay, you have a Bible that's over 5 years. You can see that what the Bible is saying is actually coming to pass. It wasn't just written 5 years ago. It was written before you had it. But let's say like the Bible was written 5 years ago. It's coming to pass. Stuff that's in it. So the Bible basically is writing about stuff that happened before 5 years ago. But it's still repeating itself. Because we're not flesh and blood, we're spirit, we're thought. We keep summoning stuff from fear, or we keep summoning stuff from love. And this has been the constant fight. Until man just gets to the place where, down to the last person that God ever thought of. No one knows that, so no one can ever, define the point of time. Until God gets to the last person he thought of. And that last person will have the opportunity to be able to see the difference to receive love versus fear. If this is going to be the conflict of the earth. We would call it good versus evil. But in the spiritual term, I guess you could say that's spiritually as well. It's fear versus love. Love versus love. Fear versus love. Because fear is trying to oppose love. Love is the most high. So when Jesus was basically saying, with these two commandments, I'm going to fulfill all commandments, he's exalted love as being the most high. He said, love God with all your heart, soul, love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and being of existence. And then love your neighbor as you would desire to be loved. Now, a person may say, well, who is God? God is love. So the person can say, let's go deeper with that. I can love God with love? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it makes all the sense in the world. You could love God because God first loved you. That's the fulfilling of that scripture. How can I love God with love? Because he gave you himself. He made you out of himself so that you can love him, so that he can love you, so that you can love him. Do you see the chain constantly moving? But if the person decides, I don't want to love God anymore, the chain is stopped. Fear has stopped it. I don't want to love God anymore. For a person, like if you're in a marriage, and for there ever to be a divorce, a separation, if someone has to no longer agree, or both parties no longer have to agree to love anymore, somebody had to have said, I don't want to love anymore. No matter what more likely was a hologram that came, a lie that came up, this surface, that gave the person the opportunity, hey, the grass is greener, you don't have to do this anymore. You could do something else. Oh, this person's not doing what they did. Or the expectation, whatever, is all lies. It's all fear based. So if there's going to be a divorce, it's because someone's separated from love. It's not the reason why a person can go outside the marriage or sleep with somebody outside the marriage is because fear has entered in. So that person, when fear enters in, it tells the soul, you no longer have to walk that way of love anymore. You have another option. But fear always leads towards death. It gets you what you want. No, it gives you the illusion of what you think that is good to eat. Let's go back to the garden of with Adam and Eve. Satan, like okay, in the very beginning when God created Adam, whatever, and Eve, he told them you could freely eat of this garden, but of the except of this tree, you could don't eat, don't touch it. Don't even be a part of it. Not even don't touch it, but just don't be a part of it. This was the tree of the knowledge of the good and evil. I don't believe that was God created that tree. I believe that was Satan himself appearing as a tree. And once you take of him, you become separated from love. You become torn between good and evil. And if you're confused, you're no longer sober. What I mean, you're delusional. How can you possibly have peace when you don't know which way you're coming or going? And this is the web that he have kept us in of lives. So Jesus come to say, I'm come to rectify that problem. I'm going to give you sobriety to the soul. I'm going to liberate your soul that it doesn't have to be torn between good and evil. That it will know the truth once and for all. That love would surface, that love should always have been, but through the fault of a mistake of one, we have not known love. So through the fault of what Adam did, Adam and Eve, what they did, we have not known love. For a covering over the earth, we haven't known it. People have experienced it because they have experienced Jesus. Love is the most high. To prove it, for a person who experienced it, you would know what I'm saying. For a person who haven't experienced it, by you being afraid of it, being afraid to experience it, you're proving it that it's the most high. With that being said, my people of faith, you are the blessed. Let's be the blessing. Let's keep walking.